Now, we can bring you some breaking news now. The European Central Bank has announced its latest interest rate decision. So let's find out what's happened. Our business correspondent Ian King is in the city for us. So, Ian, fill us in.
Hello, Jana. Yes, that's right. The European Central Bank in the last few moments has raised its main policy rate by 0.25%. That takes its main deposit rate from 3% to 3.25%. It represents a slowing down at the pace at which the European Central Bank has been raising interest rates. Its last three policy decisions in December, February and March saw it on each occasion raise interest rates by 0.5%. In fact, since July last year, it's gone from minus 0.5% to 3% until now. They've gone again today to 3.25%. But it is interesting that they've slowed down the pace at which they are raising interest rates. And I think the reasoning behind that is because there are concerns that in some parts of the Eurozone, the economy is not growing as rapidly as they would have been liking it to, particularly in Germany, obviously the biggest and single most important member of the Eurozone. The economy stagnated there during the first 3 months of the year. But obviously, inflation remains the main concern for the ECB. Now, interestingly, in the latest figures that we've had out, the headline rate of inflation in the Eurozone rose from 6.9% in March to 7% in April. And that is obviously more than 3 times the central target rate that the ECB seeks to pursue for inflation of 2%. So the central bank didn't really have any option but to raise interest rates again. So the big debate has been whether they'd raise by a quarter of 1% or half of 1%. And I think probably those figures out of Germany have tipped the balance. On the other side of that, there have been some indications that the Eurozone remains in relatively robust health. For example, unemployment, well, that's roughly at its lowest level at 6.5% or so since the euro was created. So there has been some mixed data there. But as I say, it's a slowing at the pace in which the Eurozone raises interest rate, European Central Bank raises interest rates. And in doing so, Anna, you would say that it's actually in keeping with what we got from the US Federal Reserve last night. They also raised their main policy rate by 0.25%, but indicated that that was probably as much as they would do for the time being. So for a lot of people, this will be quite encouraging in that it points out to the fact that central banks around the world are now starting to ease the rate at which they are hiking rates. And people, I imagine, will be looking for the Bank of England to do the same a week today.
Interesting. Yeah, we'll be back with you more on that then. But Ian, for the moment, thanks very much indeed.